welcome to episode 29 of the Foxy Presidential Initiative Gyan Pravah podcast series. Today, we embark on an insightful discussion on a topic that's revolutionizing the way we approach healthcare, women's health, and modern technology. See, over the past decade, technological advancements have transformed every aspect of medicine, and women's healthcare is no exception. From AI driven diagnostics to telemedicine, fertility tracking apps, wearable health devices, and precision medicine, innovation is creating new opportunities to enhance healthcare access, improve patient outcomes, and empower women to take charge of their well being like never before. Historically, healthcare solutions have not always been designed with women specific needs in mind. However, today, technology is bridging this gap, providing personalized solutions that cater to women. This promises to be an eye opening conversation on how we can harness technology's full potential to redefine women's health and create a healthier and more informed future for all. Before I introduce my guest, Naya, I just want to introduce another brilliant, beautiful, and visionary lady, a Foxy president, Dr. Sunita Tandulwadkar. She's a pioneer in reproductive medicine and someone I deeply respect. As the president of Foxy 2025, she's been at the forefront of innovation, bringing groundbreaking advancements in IVF and gynecological endoscopy. She's the force behind India's first stem cell baby, a testament to her dedication to pushing boundaries in reproductive science. Beyond her achievements, she's an inspiring mentor, a passionate educator, and a true visionary in women's health. This year, she has given all of us chairpersons an opportunity to express ourselves and mold ourselves into leaders. As she always says, I want to create leaders, not followers. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Sunita Tandulwadkar. Ma'am, can we please have your message?
Thank you, Rohan. Thank you so much for your kind word. And thank you for thinking always out of the box. I'm so happy to see Naya, right? Uh, when I read about your biodata, I felt this is Rohan. He will always bring something out of the box for us. Friends, all my Foxians and also those who are watching this podcast, let me tell you, Rohan today is a chairperson, but I definitely see him as a future Foxy president because these leadership qualities, I can see him, I'm working with him, and the way he takes it, I definitely feel the leader needs a separate vision. Along with Rohan, my many committee chairpersons, I see them as a visionary thinker of Foxy or the woman health. And that is why this platform was created so that every day in the night at 8 p.m., believe me, all chairpersons are working very hard to not only have the best of the faculty where they can not only discuss the subject, but they can create their creativity, they can show their talent, they can show their interest, and they can prove themselves that they are doing for Foxy something better this year. I'm so glad, Rohan, that you are today going to explore. But Naya, our methodology is like that after welcoming you, I will be going out and joining from the delegate other link while you both will be having dialogue with each other. So lovely meeting you and look forward to meet you in person whenever I come to Mumbai.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Your words are always so encouraging. This actually just makes us work harder and do more under your leadership. Thank you for
You know what,
igniting our
Rohan?
passion.
Just because we are not meeting for the first time as a chairperson president, we have years of relationship. I always know one thing which Dr. Pooja Lodha always say, that the leader can show where to see. What to see is depends upon us. And that's what, Rohan, I see in you. You know
Thank,
what to see as well. And that is why you will one day conquer this Foxy organization and lead in a better way.
thank you so much, ma'am. Honestly, these words just they actually touch the heart, and it really means a lot when you say that. Thank you, ma'am, for always being encouraging and giving us this platform to actually express ourselves in a very different and unique manner. Thank you so much, ma'am. Now, let me introduce my guest for the hour, Mrs. Naya Sagi. It's my pleasure to introduce you, Naya. You're a visionary entrepreneur and a leader shaping India's startup landscape. She's the founder of Edition, a venture championing world class products and brands from India. Previously, she was a group co-founder and board member at the Good Glam Group and founder of Baby Chakra, India's leading parenting platform impacting over 24 million mothers and 10,000 doctors. Baby Chakra was recognized by Google, Facebook, and Microsoft, and even featured in Harvard Business School's case study, a rare honor for an Indian startup. Following Baby Chakra's merger with MyGlam, she helped scale the Good Glam Group into India's first insurgent brands unicorn, valued at $1.2 billion. She serves on India's National Task Force for Regulatory Issues, the Governing Council of Team, and the Harvard Alumni Entrepreneurs Association, while also mentoring startups through Facebook, Google, and Government of India. She's a Harvard School business graduate and a qualified lawyer from the National Law School. Naya has worked at McKinsey and Company and the Bridgespan Group Boston. She now invests in health tech, consumer brands, and SaaS, and serves as an independent director on the boards of Wellspun Living and Tanla platforms. Naya, welcome to this podcast, and thank you so much for taking out time. And also, apologies for bothering you so much to make sure you were reaching at this platform always.
It's absolutely my pleasure, Rohan. And before I thank you, Dr. Sunita, what inspiring words. It is really heartening to see such influential and such important bodies of our country being led by such visionary people. So, Dr. Sunita, it's really been wonderful to hear your opening, words and your words of encouragement to everybody here. And Rohan, it's a pleasure to be speaking with you today. You know that. I think, Dr. Sunita, what you mentioned about Rohan, we see it, because I've had the privilege of knowing him personally as well. We see it play out in his day-to-day interactions with us as well. He's truly a guiding light for the community of his personal friends and his, personal family circle as well. So, Rohan, it's a pleasure to be doing this. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Naya.
And
It's
all
as I
the
said.
best, and I'll enjoy your podcast.
Thank you, Dr.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. Sanaya, honestly, I don't know where to actually begin this conversation with you. We've actually had these conversations in person so often. Now to do it on a formal platform is actually something that I'm getting a little bit nervous about talking to you about this. So, Naya, being very honest, see, we as doctors, we're always stuck in that one line of work. That's our obstetrics and gynecology. However, nowadays we are also seeing members of our fraternity, they're diversifying, they're trying to become entrepreneurs themselves. See, you're a lawyer by degree. What gave you that insight that you wanted to move away from the entire law fraternity and get into entrepreneurship? Because Baby Chakra was something that really exploded. So, what inspired you to do that?
Rohan, I look back and everything seems perfect in hindsight, right? So it feels like, oh, of course, Naya made the best choices. And, that's how I will probably narrate parts of my story. But when you're sort of working inside out on your journey, there are many choices you make which at that point in time seem very counterintuitive.
Yeah,
So just to give you a context, after law school, I had a pre-placement offer from a law firm in London called Clifford Chance. And that was like the it job out of law school.
exactly.
And then McKinsey happened to come on campus. And McKinsey is a consulting firm. It is the top management consulting firm in the world. I didn't know what management consulting was. I didn't know what McKinsey was. Law, you don't understand anything of business. And I just happened to be at the pre-place the talk that they do because I heard there was free pizza, literally. So I showed up there, and when I heard and I learned about what McKinsey does, which is work with top CEOs, work with the government, work with policymakers, work with nonprofits, with healthcare organizations on scaling their charter, their mandate, building their businesses out, scaling impact essentially. That really appealed to me. And I applied to McKinsey, went through multiple rounds, and I made it to McKinsey, and I deferred my Clifford Chance offer. That is where, Rohan, I got a sense of what impact. I was always a person very driven by impact. And that is when I realized that actually business and entrepreneurship can create disproportionate impact and already does create disproportionate impact. And not just in jobs and skilling, but also in just in the when products hit or services hit all our lives, right? They're improving our lives.
Yeah,
Otherwise, the business does not have a right to exist. It is as democratic as it gets. A business survives because its customers vote with their money for that
that's
business.
true. That's absolutely true. Yeah,
And that stayed with me. Then Harvard Business School happened, and I saw that, you don't just have to build physical products, you could also build digital products.
yeah.
And that's what I learned from my conversations with my batchmates who were in from China, from Brazil, from the US itself. I was in that batch, Rohan, where the first Uber showed up on campus.
Oh, wow,
So,
really?
yeah, so, you suddenly realize the power of digital and how it can transform our physical lives. And that stayed with me. And I went back to India after graduating to say that I wanted to build my own company. And that
That's
my being a business person could have impact. And Baby Chakra was the first outcome of it.
Yeah, that's amazing. Like honestly, just to trust your instincts and take that leap of faith must have been quite the challenge. Speaking of challenges, setting up Baby Chakra definitely mustn't have been easy. It getting it all started. So see, even now when I started using Baby Chakra products when Zuri was born, like literally when she was there, we both literally went through that journey hand in hand. But that's what I'm saying. That as you said, voting with the money, the way that your company made an impact actually in for motherhood, it makes such a difference. And similarly, like how we as Foxians tie up with NGOs are trying to create projects to benefit women's healthcare. Like a few projects where we're talking about ensuring quality of care. That's just such a simple thing which eventually translates. I completely understand what you mean by how the companies do make an impact. As I was saying, that we face challenges. I'm sure you also face challenges. So for our budding entrepreneurs in our Gynac community, as well as the others listening about, what are the challenges you faced when you were starting off Baby Chakra?
I mean, Rohan, I think I just want to first of all just tell you about my experience with challenges in general, right?
Yeah,
Entrepreneurship is about the challenge, right? So, first of all, when you sign up to be an entrepreneur, I think the cognizance needs to be that it will be a challenging journey, and
yeah.
therefore to be mentally, financially, and physically and emotionally prepared for it. Because that is
It
what
can't be
entrepreneurship is
easy.
about. And
Yeah.
I don't think anybody comes in saying, yes, I'm prepared. I mean, they will all say, I'm prepared for it, and they'll jump into it and then realize that no one is prepared, right? I'm
Don't
beginning
realize how
my third
deep the
venture.
waters are.
Yeah, exactly. And Rohan, I'm beginning my third venture now. I'm not
I
prepared
know.
this time around,
Congr-
I feel.
Congratulations for that,
Thank
by the
you.
way.
Thank you. So I think there is a lot of learning and unlearning that happens not just on a daily, but an hourly basis as an
Yeah,
entrepreneur. But to summarize, I think there are three challenges in particular. One is the whole challenge of about how, the entrepreneurship begins with one person's dream and vision, right? But
yeah.
you can't do it alone. So you have to think about the team that believes in you. Now, as a first time entrepreneur, completely like fresh off the boat from Boston, pretty much, no one really knew me in the ecosystem. So the toughest, I think, in the very early days was to find people who believed in the mission and would join my team. And I didn't have money to give them. I was a bootstrapped entrepreneur in the very
Fair
beginning,
enough.
right?
Yeah,
So how to find the
obviously.
right people? So that's the first big challenge. The second big challenge is how do you find people to back you? Capital is the lifeblood of business. So if you
Yeah,
don't find people to invest in your company, either through angels or friends and family, if you don't, and I was not somebody, I was a young person out of
yeah.
business school. Fortunately, no loans to pay. I went on scholarships, but nonetheless, not enough money to build a company from scratch, right?
Obviously, that's a different kind of capital
Different
that
kind
you're
of
looking
capital.
at.
And with no track record, I couldn't take the lesser risk capital. Like I couldn't go to a bank and say fund my business, right? I had to go
Yeah,
to capital, like
yeah,
venture angel. So I think the second one was the whole fundraising journey.
yeah.
And the third was I actually started off as a single founder. So I started off, without a co-founder. I mean, I had a co-founder, then he was getting married. We hadn't raised any money, so he had to leave and go back to banking. So it was
Oh, wow.
basically raising money and building a team and building out this company and building out the product and doing everything. So there was a whole piece around being a sole founder. And many times I'd also get cast, and I think that's a nuance that I probably face, which perhaps many of us, both men and women, hopefully won't in today's generation, that you're a sole woman founder. So why don't
Yeah,
you get a male co-founder as well? That was a nuance I faced very early on in my journey. So
yeah.
these are the challenges I faced.
Absolutely. And obviously, these are challenges which any entrepreneur, I'm guessing, in the way you're speaking about it, is going to face in their journey when they're trying to start something new. Like even I've tried to dabble into this, but then I realized that it requires a different level of commitment and you have to really truly focus on it wholly and solely. It can't be as a side business. You need to honestly put your head down and focus on it thoroughly. So I think without that, it's not going to happen. Maya, thanks for telling me about this journey. And I want to first talk about Baby Chakra. See, you've transformed maternal and child healthcare. You made it so easy for mothers to learn and have access to so many things. But I also know that there are a lot of gynecologists that are on your platform which are there. So what I want to know is how do these digital platforms are helping bridge the gap between the gynacs and the patients, and how can gynecologists actually collaborate with these health techs in order to build up their practice or to get into entrepreneurship or anything like that?
So, Rohan, the journey of building a platform, especially which doctors are on, you have to really look at the platform very closely, especially if you're a practitioner,
Yeah,
right? Because a lot of platforms will come and say, oh, we will partner with you, we will collaborate with, we will do this, we will do that, right? And then
yeah,
they will say, oh, we will build your business, we will do this, X, Y, Z, right? I
yeah.
think
We get
that's
calls
important.
almost every day.
I know, I can imagine.
Right.
I think the important thing is, first of all, I would really say that what are the founders' motivations for doing what they are doing? Of course, everybody's building a company out, everybody's building a business, but what are the true motivations? How
Yeah,
do they deal with the customer? How do they deal with customer data? How do they think about a customer? Is it a customer or is it a consumer? Is
concept.
it a service? Right?
Yeah,
So I think really understanding founder motivations, I have always advised, like, even I have very dear, care provider and practitioner friends, right? And I
yeah,
always tell them, please just understand the founder and the founding team's motivations and why, what is the mission of the company? Why does it exist? And does it match with your values? So
yes,
I think that's the first thing to really look for. The second thing to look for and be very clear about is that the platforms need to be honest with you. Some platforms will tell you we will help you amplify your digital presence, right? And that's fair. But then do not expect them to generate, any new patients for you,
yeah,
right? Or any leads, so-called leads for you, right? Some
yes,
people might say that, oh, we will help you build your knowledge, or
yeah,
you build attach you to a community of like-minded. So I think you have to be
people.
very clear on what that platform can do for you, but also equally clear on what that platform can't. And I think it's
Yes,
very important to have that very honest chat with that platform and say that if you're not doing this for me, then I'm not interested in partnering with you. This is my
absolutely.
priority because honestly, practitioners have extremely limited time. They're in the business, they literally, their day, like it is such a stressful existence, day in, day out, saving
Yeah,
lives, Rohan. So I have a lot of respect. So your time is super precious. So I think have very clear conversations and please don't waste time on platforms that are not clear on what they're going to give you, right? What they
absolutely.
need from you and what you would get from them. I think the
Yeah,
third that also however have patience with some of these platforms. There are some very good entrepreneurs trying to do some very good work, and people are very passionate about changing and transforming healthcare in our country. It is really in the need for a transformation. You started off by saying that baby chakra has transformed maternal and child health. I wish I could say that. I don't agree with that actually. I think
okay.
it's a long way to go. I think maternal and child health has a very, very, very long way to go in India. It's improving, but it'll be many, many platforms like Baby Chakra and many, many collaborations
I
with,
agree.
with
Absolutely. But
practice
that's,
like yours to make that
I
happen.
absolutely agree with you. See, but I disagree with you about the fact that you're saying that baby chakra has not made a difference. It's those small baby steps which eventually get you to the journey, to the destination that you want. Just a simple thing like when I was discussing with you regarding a certain cream that Zuri was using, and you told me, Rohan, have you even read what the contents are? There's so many chemicals in it. It's not natural. It may not suit your child. And that's when I actually just went and read the contents. And see, as a doctor, you've just been hearing about these products in the market and you think they're fine. But you actually changed my insight into looking at my own child. And listen, this is coming from a healthcare professional that I'm saying. From someone who's supposed to be knowing about all of these things, and it slips our mind. So just this small information that you gave me in this conversation that we had, and literally I remember Arya and Zuri were playing downstairs and when we had this conversation. So you may not think that you made such a big difference, but it's these small steps which you have taken, like the information you give on baby chakra for the mothers to be. It's honestly, it's something that's going to be really like it really changes them. Now, see, as doctors, also we get like 1,000 questions from the mother about what's to be done, what's to be done. But at the same time, a lot of these forums also are there of mothers. If you've noticed, you have your Facebook forums, you have your WhatsApp groups of localities. So honestly, you've been on the Baby Chakra group, Baby Chakra you've been the founder. So I'm sure you've also gone through the questions that mothers actually ask. I want to know from your end that, see, as doctors, we get a lot of scientific questions, but I'm sure there are a lot of other questions which do come across. Can I just know what these mothers are asking and what do they want to know about?
Sure. And Rohan, just to your point, I mean, absolutely, I do agree with you. I know we have created disproportionate impact, but I do want to say that there's a lot more scope still for impact in India.
Absolutely.
That was my broader point.
Yeah.
And I'll give you a few examples. So for instance, we used to get, I think, 7 to 8 cakes every day in the Baby Chakra office
Oh,
because
wow.
every time a baby was born, and this is not, we had more than that. Like we had, I think, at our peak, I think every 3 minutes there was a Baby Chakra baby born. That means
Oh,
a mother
wow.
who was on Baby Chakra had given birth. Like,
Oh,
and
lovely.
it was incredible. And we used to have cakes come in, we used to have gifts come in saying thank you to Baby Chakra and from all over India, all
Okay.
types of income demographics, in all letters written in all different languages. You
Oh,
know,
that's lovely. Yeah.
yes, it's amazing. I mean, now I've actually exited Baby Chakra and Good Glam. As you know,
And
I'm beginning my third
yeah.
venture. But I still have parents. In fact, even recently, this father who wrote to me 3 years back, and he's been writing to me every year. He said, "You may not remember me, but you were the one who told me about that, potential in Baby Chakra was the one rather that,
Yeah.
you should go into an infertility specialist and get yourself checked and get your wife
Yeah.
checked." And then when they went in, then eventually they realized there was something that they needed to solve for. And then he had sent me a photo of his baby twin girls.
Oh,
And
wow.
those twin, every year on their birthday, I still get an email from him showing a picture from their birthday party celebrations. I've literally seen these children growing. So, Rohan, I mean, I can tell you hundreds of these stories, thousands of these stories,
Yeah.
thousands. So I see this play out day in, day out. I think the point that you're making in terms of what do mothers talk about, right?
Yeah.
It largely is around three aspects. One, a very big part is around the physical development of their bodies through,
Absolutely.
uh, pregnancy, through
Pregnancy, how it's growing
child
and everything.
care, postpartum, the works there, right? What to eat, how to take care of themselves, prenatal exercises, body aches, body pains, the regular stuff there.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of focus, of course, on nutrition
Yeah.
for the mother at that point in time. They suddenly that now shifts after the child is born to the child itself.
Exactly.
And then it goes into the physical aspect of the child. So the nutrition, milestones, growth milestones, mental cognitive skill development, etc. It goes a lot into the emotional and the mental milestones of the mother. A lot of women, as you know, go through postpartum depression and they don't
Absolutely.
know how to deal with it. In fact, breastfeeding at that stage is also a very, very big part of the narrative and the conversations. And unfortunately, a lot of mothers don't realize that breastfeeding is not as easy as it's made out to be in the movies
Yeah.
or in the or as that's glorious. It's actually extremely tough. Latching is so tough for so many mothers. It
Absolutely.
also the social pressures on them are so high because at that point in time, while you might typically 70% of India lives in nuclear families, but at that point in time, post childbirth, you'll have an elderly person in the family come to take care of you.
Yeah.
And that person will judge you if you're not able to breastfeed or produce milk. And that adds even more pressure to the mind of the mother. And then obviously she's fed this entire piece, which is correct as well, that breast milk is the best milk, and that is absolutely right. But what happens in case for whatever reason you're not able to lactate, you know,
Absolutely. Yeah.
you
There
don't
are
know
issues
right
which create problems.
issues, and then there are issues on mastitis. There's so many issues that come up, right? So that period post pregnancy is a lot about the physical and the basic growth and cognitive milestones of the child, but it is a lot about the mother that still doesn't get discussed in offline
In the
community.
open. Yeah.
Yes,
Completely.
And then after that comes almost like a recognition of self, right? That's the next stage. So when the child is about 3 years of age, 2.5, 3 years of age,
Yeah,
the mother starts reclaiming her own identity. And
true.
that's when she moves to saying, okay, what about my sexual relations with my husband? We
Yeah.
used to have a certain bond, but that is
Mm.
gone now. So what happens to that? How do I reclaim that? How do I reclaim my body as I used to know it? I am not,
Absolutely.
I'm this woman behind this body of a mother. Now, where do I reclaim
No,
myself?
that's
So
these are
those,
some really key points which you're bringing up.
so these are the things that come up. So when I think about, therefore the role that, and I think it's such a beautiful and such a critical role that gynecologists actually play because it's almost a partnership with the mother. And I've seen the most effective partnerships be one of number one, no judgment.
Yeah.
Because it is a lot, just not physically or not just clinically, but also mentally and emotionally the mother woman is going through. So no judgment, right?
Yeah.
That is super important. Number two, where it is understood that it's a longitudinal relationship,
Yeah.
right? And it's not just about just that it's not transactional that I will help you give birth to a healthy baby and then please, like, that's it.
Yeah.
No. It is saying that I will partner with you because you're a woman, your gynecological needs, will continue for the rest of your life. And how can I help you through that journey in an
Mm.
effective way? So it's a more
Na-
longitudinal partnership and almost like a friendship, if you will, but of trust and of expertise from the other
Naya,
side.
you're making us sound so lovely about the entire thing. But
I'm just sharing, I think the best, most effective, I mean, and that's when the healthcare outcomes of
yeah.
that cohort who are exposed to care of this thoughtfulness and caliber, they are disproportionately high, Rohan.
No, I understand what you're saying, but I'll tell you another thing. What I read on one of the blogs of Baby Chakra, when obviously we were also working together at that point, we were talking about what was this. I remember our late night conversation through the entire night about how you were going to move ahead. But what I read on the Baby Chakra website was you not only talked about all of these points, but the nutrition of the mother. Because I think you missed that point about saying it. Because I read it on Baby Chakra that you're taking care of the nourishment of the child, but you need to understand your own nourishment, your own mental well-being. And postpartum depression, which you brought about right now, is such a stigma. It's a stigma in our society even today. People are still not addressing it openly. As much as you, me, a few of our friends may end up talking about this, it's still not percolated to the tier 2, tier 3 cities where a lot of women are going through about it. What you talked about breastfeeding, I think that's again another pinching point because that's something where everyone's like, huh, you become a mother, you have to breastfeed. It's like riding a cycle. It's not. It's quite the learning process. It requires a lot of patience. You are also tired after delivering. Now, I don't need to tell you all of this. You're a mother. I'm talking about it from a gynecologist's point of view. You have two lovely daughters, and at least I'm happy I got to see Raya the first thing as soon as she was out. But at the same time, I understand your pain points which you're talking about, and I'm so glad that you're touching about it because I know that these are some of the gaps which are there in maternal healthcare, and it's going to be there. uh, Naya, now I'm moving on to a little bit more of a friendlier part of it about artificial intelligence. It's a massive trend going on right now, especially with Chat GPT. You've got Gemini, you've got Apple also coming out with its own artificial intelligence engines. So, tell me one thing. Now, I'm going to break this up into two parts. First, I want you to tell me what do you think, like these AI and health, or rather not, I wouldn't say health, I would say medicine. Do you think they are going to go hand in hand as we go long term? See, now I'm going to be the devil's advocate. I've already got Google who makes my life miserable in the OPD. Now I've got Chat GPT which adds on to it. So what do you think? How is AI and this going to work? And the second part is what are the pitfalls you see?
So I mean, AI is not a new concept. We all know that it's been on from the 19, almost 80s, 70s. I mean, we've been talking AI. I think now what we're seeing is a wide scale
As
adoption.
gynecologists, we've heard it recently.
But I think the reality is that it's now that we've seen the generative AI become accessible and being used at scale across mainstream industries. And that's why we are all talking about AI. And now we are also seeing a lot of how compute has disproportionately enabled this much faster processing, which enables us to get what we're getting, like
Yeah,
through
the answers.
millions of data points come to much faster fruition, right? So what I want to basically say is that it's not a new concept. It's about like how fast we're seeing it. Number one, cheap
Yeah,
to access. If you look at the classic curve on AI, the cost of a basic question that's actually gone down massively,
drastically. Yeah, yeah,
drastically. So it becomes almost like a public good in time. It's so cheap.
yeah,
Number
yeah,
two, infrastructure behind it that has been set up. So now it's accessible to all. And in fact, the
absolutely.
bet that I have, and I think a lot of us in the technology space have, is that right now we're still accessing AI through a screen or through a portal, if you will. There will
Yeah,
be a future where there will be ambient AI, where
yeah,
because AI is as foundational a technology as electricity, it'll be part of your physical existence in ways that is just seamlessly integrated into your world, right? And I think, you've seen some parts of it with Meta,
yeah,
the
yeah. You
AR,
are what?
but it'll be even more seamless is the bet, Rohan, right? So
Okay.
some part of it'll just amplify your being as a human being,
Yeah,
right? And I think the
yeah.
piece is the interesting, factoid is that by 2035, there will be more robots on Earth than human beings,
I
right?
know, especially with Elon Musk talking about it, about setting up his first AI robot soon.
It's happening all over, right? It's
Yeah,
happening all over. So, I mean, eventually that begs the question that will AI be in service of humanity or will humanity be in service of AI, right? So that is a broader, and that's what I'm saying. I'm laying the groundwork for a more existential question that honestly all
yeah,
of us in AI and tech are actually asking of ourselves today. I
yeah.
think, however, coming to your point on healthcare, healthcare actually has the potential now to be absolutely disrupted by AI.
Okay.
Because if you look at the decades literally it would take to come onto a scientific breakthrough on a certain molecule, right?
Fair enough.
It,
Yeah.
we're looking at compute powers. That is the next frontier where hopefully like a discovery on cancer or a discovery on Parkinson's or will be much more.
Diabetes, something as simple as diabetes.
Absolutely. So it has a disproportionate impact on the healthcare research angle of it. So if you look actually, and one thing I look at very closely is where has China bet on its money, right? So
Yeah.
China in 2017, Rohan, had bet, and since then it's continued that bet on AI. 2017,
Yeah.
I'm talking about, invested, I think, $100 billion.
Oh,
Uh,
wow.
we had bet on quantum computing, which is now where we see the compute power that
Power that,
the
which is
next
just,
bedrock on, yeah, on AI. And they'd bet on biotech.
oh, okay.
So if you look at it, it has major repercussions on longevity, on healthcare, on drug discovery, on predictive models, better
Yeah.
prediction models, right? On what kind of disease or sort of
Yeah. How the progression, how the
the progression to be.
curative.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Right.
I understand what you're saying.
So I think it's going to be extremely dramatic, the change. Also, two things though I would caution, and not because you asked the pros and cons. I think not
Yeah.
caution, something to think about. One is that today, as of today, AI, generative AI in particular, is building off data sets that are not inclusive, right? So if
Okay.
you literally look at, for instance, dermatology,
Yeah.
and AI, generative AI data sets that are built off dermatology, they will have a different answer for something, and they will not even have like an accurate answer for something that's more brown skin based than white skin based. Why? Because
Okay.
the data on white skin is
Is a
actually a
lot
lot.
more. Yeah.
Yes, right. So the data sets on which these are based need to be really rigorously
I
tested,
understand what you're saying.
updated, right? That's one. Number two, there is a concept, as you would probably know already, of digital twins, right? Where you
Yeah.
can test out healthcare interventions on a digital persona. And, by the way, digital twins is also used, interestingly enough, in other fields, in marketing, in consumer
Yeah.
research, same in healthcare, right? And you can actually figure out what adverse reactions would it have on a certain cohort or what it would not have. Now, in
Yeah.
that, unfortunately, a lot of women are left out. So it's very interesting because, I mean, somehow history doesn't seem to have learned. You remember the automobile test that we would do in the
Yeah,
past, that, the seatbelts don't really protect women because
yeah.
they're not, the way it's
The
molded is
way it's
actually
been
not
put up, it
for a
does not.
woman's
Yeah,
physiology, right?
yeah.
Similar stuff is happening even in digital twinning because women's data sets are not represented there.
But that, in fact, just a simple thing that Socrates back in 1600 actually said that life comes from an egg, not from the sperm. He's the one who actually talked about entire women's healthcare back in the 1600s. And in fact, we keep having the same arguments in our fraternity itself that we always talk about what are the treatment protocols, what are the uh, dates and everything based off Western data, because unfortunately, we don't have that much robust Indian data to actually give to our counterparts. We do have data, I'm not going to say, but when you compare, when we are almost about 15 to 20% of the world's population, and our data is barely 1 to 2% of the all the papers that are available, we're obviously not going to even have the AI be able to generate treatments or anything that would be pointed towards the Indian population rather than our Western counterparts. So I understand what you're saying about how this is not going to be proportionally accurate towards, as you said, brown skin versus light skin. But I do understand what you're talking about, that pitfall of the AI sector.
I think there is some solutioning that's happening right now, though. So one is, of course, people are creating synthetic data sets, right?
Okay.
Which is, not real, like not people's data, but
Not
it's
real
like
people.
at scale, they're creating like prototypes of multiple data sets that can feed into and make that data set more representative and
Yeah.
responsible as a result. The second is, of course, the government is coming out with, and the government has done actually a fantastic job over the last many years on on digital public infrastructures, we call it.
Yeah.
So from UPI to payments, the entire infrastructure,
Absolutely.
right? Aadhaar, identity data sets, etc. And they're doing something similar with the National Health Data
Registry.
Mission,
Yeah.
right, Registry, right? So I think that is also going to be something that hopefully accelerates the development and the rapid gestation of more like evolved data sets from the Indian population. So there's hope. There's definitely hope.
Yeah. So now my this is going to be my last question before we actually wrap this up. That now that you spoke about this so aptly, like as our data sets are not there, but now our patients which come in, they've obviously went on Chat GPT or they've gone in on Google. So I'll give you a very simple example. Really close friend of mine. In fact, you've met her. I won't take her name on a public forum, but she was having twins. And she suddenly sends me an article. She's about 6 weeks pregnant. She sends me an article which tells us all the bad things about twins. So the entire mindset is that, oh, twins are going to have this issue in pregnancy, are going to have that issue in pregnancy. So what ends up happening is a lot of misinformation does end up coming on the net. Forget just internet, Instagram. Now, I'm also on Instagram so much. I'm trying to put out as much accurate information as possible. But even then, you have non medicos, sometimes even medicos who are not giving the right kind of information out there. Do you know how we can actually combat this misinformation and get out of this entire landscape? To just try and make people understand that everything on the internet isn't what applies to you. How do we combat that as a population, as doctors, as entrepreneurs?
It's a very important point, Rohan, because I mean, everybody is now looking at this WhatsApp university and the Instagram
I
university,
was
and
going to
it's
ask.
it's a complete mess.
Yeah.
And it goes back to two things that, and some of them are in parallel, some of them relevant, which and both relevant, but it might be interesting in your
Yeah.
spell as well. One is there's a lot of information that's AI generated. And
Yeah.
actually, a lot of folks in tech are saying, how do you watermark information that's AI generated? Because you could actually have Rohan and say, Dr. Rohan Palshetkar, small video from you that's
Oh,
somehow
wow.
being disseminated. And it's not you, it's actually a
Yeah.
generative
Yeah.
AI
Yeah.
video of you. And it's telling everybody that, oh, do this, do X, Y, Z. And people are sharing it because it's Dr. Rohan Palchetkar who's so well known in the
That's scary.
Right. But that is the reality today, right? So I think there's
Yeah.
one responsible AI and a consortium that's forming from a tech perspective on how to watermark stuff that is AI generated without
Yeah.
any human intervention. I mean, without like and basically authenticate that information, right? Because
Yeah.
it's not about healthcare data. There are riots, there are genocides, there's so much has happened because of misinformation in the
Yeah.
world.
Yeah.
That's
Absolutely.
one. Number two, I think, and therefore, what can we do is, there is work happening even on the finfluencer side. If you've seen all the crackdowns that are happening on finfluencers, people
Yeah.
who are claiming to have financial knowledge and they're
Uh,
disseminating knowledge on the pretext of having some sort of expertise which you don't claim, which you don't have.
have. Yeah.
Crackdown on that happening because people are losing money because of
Yeah. Yeah.
that.
Obviously.
Right. So I'm just laying it out as ideas. Is there a way that maybe the Foxy can work closely with the government, right? And maybe come out with some sort of rules and regulations around at least gynecology or women's health data that is floated on the internet. Who can do it? What kind of influencers can do this? What kind of broad training or right do they have to even talk about it? Or even amongst your doctor cohort, right? Whoever's putting out information to have some sort of a Foxy verified tick or
Yeah.
something that he says that this is from a credible institution that verifies that the person who's giving this information is in a
Yeah.
position to get information. So even if, let's say, you're not able to clamp down on the healthcare influencers, at least if you do enough education around the fact that this is a Foxy verified
Yeah.
influencer or a doctor, and therefore the information is fine, right? Then a consumer on the other side says, okay, this information I can at least trust.
Yeah.
So I think it
Fair
will
enough.
take some sort of almost like a jugalbandi between,
I,
institutional
I
law,
understand what you're saying.
right, between the government and between, almost the consumers at the very end, the patient population at the
Yeah.
very to come to almost a reconciliation on this. Otherwise, you're right, you will be inundated with false data for
I
sure.
know that. I know, Naya. But honestly, Naya, you've given such beautiful insights and thoughts today. I've really loved. Honestly, it's not felt like we're on a Zoom platform. I feel like we could just be sitting and having a cup of coffee and just chatting about exactly what we're doing right now. So honestly, Naya, it's been wonderful. You've shared your experience on how digital platforms can help empower women, how AI and our technology is actually going to lead us forward. Not saying that there aren't going to be pitfalls. You can see Theo in the background roaming around there. But of course, he is the drama king of the house. But honestly, thank you. It's honestly been a pleasure to have you on the podcast. And thank you for being my opening batsman. I know I've harassed you a lot to say, Naya, please be there on time, please be there on time. But honestly, thank you so much for being there. It's been a pleasure having you. And of course, Naya, any just some last take home messages for our listeners out there?
First of all, thank you for having me again. It's been a complete pleasure. Um, and no such take home messages, but I would just say that thank you for all the work that each of you do. Uh, it is incredibly tough work, and you know I can just safely say this that while I know there's a lot of, I think maybe the day to day grunt and the day to day stress of it all may seem maybe overpowering, but just please know that, we're all so grateful on the other side because you're saving lives, you're taking care of us, you're giving literally birth to our children. I could not be more grateful. So from the other side, I just want to say a big thank you to each one of you who's watching this today.
Thank you so much, Naya. It's been a pleasure having you here. And of course, before we end, I have to thank Dr. Sunita Tandurwadkar for spearheading this Gyan Pravah series platform where we can have these out of the box session, reach out to over 40,000 gynecologists and so many more other viewers who can get an insight into what not only what we are doing, but what fantastic. Do I still call you an entrepreneur still, or now do I call you an investor?
And I'm
I think
still
it's that But Naya, honestly, thank you once again. I also want to thank the Evangel team who's been helping us with this wonderful podcast series. And to our listeners, thank you for tuning in. Let's continue to explore, innovate, and advocate for a future where technology serves as a powerful ally in women's health. Until next time, stay informed, stay empowered, and take charge of your health. Just to give you a quick update, don't forget to tune in to episode 30 of Gyan Pravah tomorrow at 8 p.m. again. Dr. Kiranmai Diveni, our chairperson of the Foxy Violence Against Women's Committee, will be in conversation with Dr. Elena Wadanobi. She's the president of the Medical Women International Association. And I'm sure that's also going to be a fantastic podcast to hear. I'm definitely tuning in and I hope to see you there. Naya, thank you once again and good night to all our listeners.
Thank you, Rohan. Thank you. Thank you. Good night, everybody.
Good night.